We are going to take a look at Chapter 7, Classroom Management. As you know, you're not going to read this entire chapter. We're just going to pick pieces of it, and then you're going to have some instruction from a phenomenal teacher. When you're thinking about this chapter, you're probably thinking to yourself, why in the world does an instructional leader need a chapter on classroom management? Well, I think that's an excellent question. And the answer is in your leadership challenge on pages 223 and 224. Are you turning there? The authors of our text pose an unruly classroom scenario and ask you what you would do as an instructional leader. How in the world can you help a classroom teacher without resources about and understanding of classroom management? A classroom is an environment. With order, learning can occur. Without order, learning cannot occur. Order doesn't mean chairs in a row, students sitting quietly, teachers standing in front, teaching. Order means that there's a plan of action for behavior. Transitions, early finishers, getting in line, leaving the classroom, using the computers, and so on. Teachers have to have a plan of action in the classroom, not just for teaching and learning, as we discussed in chapters 4 and 6, but a plan for how the day will flow. As an educational leader, you know that there are different routines and procedures in elementary school than there are for secondary schools. It's even different from kindergarten to first grade. On page 230, there are great theory into action guidelines that will help an instructional leader think about how to help a teacher. Some instructional leaders even plan in the summertime for them to read books, and that will help teachers in order to have good management at school. There's some great books like The Energy Bus by John Gordon and The Leader Within by Stephen Covey. These are wonderful reading materials for teachers, and they can be made into rules that regulate the school, not just a single classroom. Many principals know and understand that your first 2 weeks of school need to be about the community of learners, not about academics, the telling of how academics may occur, but you want to set up your classroom. You want to set up your school. Set it up for success so that you can have a great year. Preparing for the first few weeks of school is about creating a community of learners within the classroom. And one of the most important pieces of classroom management is building this community of learners. Chapter 5 told us about the important social emotional connection that's within the classroom. If you don't build this emotional bond in your classroom, as we heard in our motivation chapter, then you're not going to get a lot of learning done because the student doesn't feel safe within that classroom. And this is built within the first 2 weeks of school. Harry Wong is absolutely fantastic. I love the video that he does here, and he speaks on discipline and procedures. And he talks in this about the difference between managing your classroom and disciplining your classroom. And I'm hoping this is going to flow pretty quickly. It's just about 1.5 minutes, maybe close to 2 minutes. And if it works out well, we can enjoy the video together.
Procedures is it makes the class comfortable. It makes the class secure because they all know what's going to happen in the classroom. And if they know and you know, we can all then move on with learning as opposed to surprises all the time in the classroom. And so discipline has to do with behavior. Procedures has to do with doing. Now you can always spot an effective teacher. You see, an effective teacher manages a classroom. The ineffective teacher disciplines a classroom. So I think you need to sit there and ask yourself, are you managing your classroom or are you disciplining your classroom? Because if you are managing your classroom, you are a very, very effective teacher. And if you're managing your classroom, your students will succeed. For you see, those of us who manage our classrooms for one reason only. We're only interested in one thing, student achievement.
So what he's talking about is the most effective teacher actually manages the classroom and not disciplines it. Our group assignment is going to be a discussion board, and it's very interesting to listen to Harry Wong and what he says and read what our chapter is saying, and then listen to George Couros. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong, but I enjoy his thoughts. And he poses the question, is it classroom management or is it classroom leadership? There's really no right or wrong answer with that. It's just your thought process based by backed up by research. And so when we get to our assignment, you're going to see that that is what we're going to do. So an effective teacher is one that manages, not disciplines, the classroom. Page 240 has some great terms. My favorite one is with itness. What if you had an award in your school for the with itness teacher? This is a teacher who communicates to students that they're aware of everything that's happening in the classroom. They're not missing anything. With it, teachers avoid becoming absorbed by distractions or interacting with only a few students because this encourages the rest of the class to wander. These teachers are always scanning the room, making eye contact with individual students so that students know that they're being monitored. The other term that I enjoyed too is called overlapping. And this is just an effective teacher who can keep track of and supervise several activities at the same time. And then the last one is warm demanders. I don't know that I really like the term of it, but I do like the implications. They're no-nonsense teachers whose classroom environments are structured and disciplined. Now, you have the opportunity to take this information from the text from Harry Wong, knowing that you are going to have the opportunity to answer a discussion question. You have the privilege of listening to Linda Wayman, and she's going to speak on how to fix a broken school, lead fearlessly, and love hard. It's about an 18-minute video, and she talks about her school and how she becomes the manager, the leader, whatever term you can support and define as true, and she is going to tell you about that. So you're going to listen to her as your next part of instruction for this chapter. Then here is George's classroom management question and the blog piece, and here's your assignment. The assignment is you're going to have a group discussion. That means that you make a post, a thought, and after you make that thought, then you will be seeing 3 of your classmates comment on your thought. You can respond back to them if you choose. So your job is to create a thread, to start a post. You answer the question, can the term classroom management be replaced with classroom leadership? Why or why not? And then after you make that post, you go and you look at your other classmates' post, and then you comment on them. This will help us think about classroom management from an instructional leader perspective as opposed to a classroom perspective. And for us to look at building a community of learners through our viewpoint, our philosophy on what classroom management truly is. So good luck, and I wish you well, and I hope you enjoy this week.